The most important part of teaching something is always to understand it. This is the most basic principle that underlines all teaching. And this means that to teach students how to speak effectively, we as teachers need to understand what constitutes speaking. This can be difficult for something that so many people consider an intuitive process. This video will introduce the ideas of what skills speaking consists of, as well as how students can construct an effective speech, and some tools for helping them to improve. When speaking, students are drawing upon 3 different skill sets and utilizing these sub-processes. These skills are cognitive, physical, and sociocultural. When looking at how to teach speaking, it is important to understand how students' knowledge or lack thereof in any of these 3 fields can cause them either success or distress. The first of the 3 skills is cognitive. This is how students think through not only what they are going to say, but how they are going to use the language ability they have to say it. This stage includes grammatical understanding, word choice, and how to convey meaning using language as a medium. The second stage is physical. This is a student's ability to say the words. This governs pitch, volume, pace, pronunciation, diction, and emphasis. The final stage is sociocultural. This relates to the ability to match language to an appropriate situation. This governs how we use language based on the relationships we have with the other speakers, the effect that setting and context have on our language choices, and what language is appropriate for each. These 3 skills are all used in rapid succession when a student has a thought, opens their mouth, and says it. If a student has difficulty in any one of these 3 facets, speaking may be a daunting task for them. When teaching students speaking, it is important to understand their abilities and levels in these 3 skills. Things like cognitive difficulties, English as an additional language, or physical difficulties with speaking can impact a student's ability and willingness to speak. Students can't be expected to speak at levels above their abilities in any of these 3 skills. Please pause the video and begin Activity 1. Now that we understand what speaking involves, we move on to how to plan and perform an effective speech. The first part of an effective speech is having a well-written and planned out script. This includes correct grammar, varied sentence length, and making sure that students have used appropriate language to fit the purpose that their speech is meant to serve. This is something as basic as using sources and evidence correctly in persuasive text, to more complex aspects of delivering a monologue from the perspective of a character. Good planning is the base for any good speech. The second and often ignored part of a good speech is the delivery, or performance. The performance of a speech can often leave a far greater impression than content alone. To develop these skills in students, we need to guide them from the basic speaking skills, such as volume control, eye contact, clear pronunciation, and pace, to more advanced skills like gesturing, pausing for effect, and movement around the speaking area. For teaching students the basics of speaking, an effective strategy is the use of memory aids to help them remember and internalize the basic skills. Shoes is a memory aid that covers all the basic speaking skills necessary for the junior years. By introducing speaking to them in these basic terms first, it helps students build a base upon which they can continue to improve. Please pause and move on to Activity 2. The final aspect that is important to remember when teaching students about how to effectively perform speaking is that students need practice. Giving students time to write and edit their script is good, but unless students are given time to stand up and read their speech aloud, teachers have no method of understanding the areas a student may need to improve upon. Thank you for listening. I hope you found this video on the skills of speaking useful.